Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm Courtney,
And I'm MK.
and I almost waited for you to do that because you've done all the other episodes today. And I was like, nope, that's me.
That's
Anyways,
you.
how are you?
It wasn't until you were halfway through saying all of that that I remembered I'm supposed to have something to talk about.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
yeah. So I mean,
Too many shows coming up?
I actually so I work the most wild weekend coming up. This weekend I work 3 days in a row, and for all three of them, it is a different show. And for all three of the different shows, it is a different kind of human being who's going to be at them.
Fun.
Friday night, I am working a orchestra concert that will be playing only the music from the Final Fantasy video games.
Fun. My aunt loves Final Fantasy. Hey, Carolyn. Hi, Carolyn.
Hey, Carolyn. I like the music, but I've never played them.
I don't
I
really care for them.
I said something about how I had a connection to a Final Fantasy game, and Doug and David were like, "What is it?" And I was like, "Well, I played Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube, and so my special edition character was Link, but if I had played it on the PlayStation instead, I would have been a special edition character from Final Fantasy." So like, so you didn't even play it on the PlayStation. I was like,
That's so
no.
funny. See, I really love Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, Kingdom
And
Hearts is my only real connection to Final Fantasy, but
yeah, and they have so much overlap that everyone's like, you would love this. And I've played like three or four different versions of Final Fantasy, and not one of them have I liked yet.
yeah.
Sounds
Um,
fun.
but the music's nice and it'll be a nice
Yeah,
show. It'll be a lot of weird people there, but it'll be a nice show.
sure.
And then Saturday, I will be working a Paw Patrol show.
Ooh,
You
fun.
know how I
Children.
feel about Paw Patrol. Well, no, but
Yeah,
I mean Christopher
yeah,
and Brian
I
and all
know.
my friends. And I do in fact know two of the people on the Paw Patrol tour
Oh,
still,
nice.
so it's great. Um, and then Sunday, I am working a Frankie Valli tribute band.
I Frankie Valley's the Four Seasons, right?
Yeah.
I met the Four Seasons. Random fun fact for you. They were at a conference I went to, and one of the girls that I'm friends with who has like a business for music and stuff too, she has worked at Disney with them and like performance stuff. And so they were
Yeah.
performing at this conference, and super nice guys. Super nice
Love
guys, but
that.
they're the Four Seasons. I don't remember any of their names. I think his name may have been Matt or Ben. Something generic,
Okay.
but
It's okay.
yeah, fun fact.
I love the random, oh, I met that person things because you and I have both worked in places where that has happened a lot.
Yeah.
And so like the other day when Dan and I were watching The West Wing, I was like, yeah, I was like, I told you I met Aaron Sorkin, right? And Dan was like, yeah. And Doug goes, I'm sorry, what? And I was like, yeah. I go, I didn't say anything. I didn't speak to him. He just said good morning to me, and I stopped being able to function as a human being. But like
Yeah.
other than that, yeah, he
It's not
was
like we're
fine.
best friends, but we met.
Yeah, right. We met. He has no idea who I am, but it's fine. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so you just casually met. So I have those shows coming up. I have the Eclipse coming up, which is going to be
Mhm.
dope.
Yeah.
Um, that'll be cool. I don't know. Grey's Anatomy is back on. There's a new season of Amazing Race. There's a new season of The
Oh,
Mask.
Amazing Race is back.
Yeah, and The Masked
Wow.
Singer is back.
I know. I'm supposed to watch it with my aunt, so we haven't started yet because I have
Ugh,
not been a person since it
yeah,
came back like the 6th of March, and I've not been a person since before that.
yeah, that's
So,
true. Um,
but maybe this
so
weekend I'm staying with them Monday night. So,
oh, nice. So Grey's Anatomy, Masked Singer, and Amazing Race are back. Bachelor just ended, so
uh-huh.
that's where I'm at TV land wise. I am in the middle of the season of RuPaul's Drag Race, but I can't watch it until it goes on
Right.
Paramount because my mom canceled my cable and didn't tell me. Um, to be fair, you know, the only time that we have used the cable box in the last 6 months, I recorded A Year Without a Santa Claus on TM, like AMC, because apparently we don't have it on DVD. And then I watched RuPaul's Drag Race. And that's
So
quite,
like for the best.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. And
Yeah.
she got to upgrade our internet because of it. So, that's totally cool.
I love that for me.
Yeah. So it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Everything's just kind of existing right now. Cool.
Excellent.
Yeah. How are
Excellent.
you?
I am non-fevered right now, which is nice.
Woo!
I think we're backwards, so I think is this does this follow the episode we just recorded?
Yeah, no, it does.
Oh,
We're
great.
back.
So
We're
I'm
back in
non-fevered
order.
now.
Yes,
My
we're
leave has indeed kicked in,
yes, we
which
are
is
back
nice.
in
And then I got
order.
immediately hungry now. I keep eating stuff. Like I've had chocolate, I've had soup, I've had chicken. Like I just keep eating now because I felt too bad to eat all day.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah, it's probably good for me.
yeah.
Um, I I have so many animals around me. They keep touching me. At least this one's mine. But I leave this weekend to move states again. So in 3 days, Rachel will be here and we're gonna take a little roadsy trip to New Orleans and I'm gonna stay a night with my aunts to get Sadie settled in there. And then I will live life and see how it goes. I was telling Mary Kate before we got on that I want to start a TikTok. I want to do a TikTok thing. Never done TikTok. Um, but like I'm gonna be traveling so much and doing so many random things that like
Yeah.
should TikTok it. That's what other people do, right?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
I'm
I'll
gonna
just
TikTok my road trip.
I just use the TikToks that do like what random character are you filters and
I
then
know.
get mad at them. That's the only TikToks I make. Is Sadie staying with the ants while you're in Louisiana?
Hmm. Yeah, because Rachel's dog is not super dog friendly.
Mm.
So like me and Aurora get along fine, but we think that she would try to eat Sadie. So
Oh, we don't want
she's gonna
anyone to eat
stay
Sadie.
right. So she's gonna stay in Baton Rouge, but I'll be down the way and it's it's Aunt Carolyn and Karen and Peggy. So like I'll be over there and I'll stay days with them. Like I don't
Yeah.
have like a day job, so I can work from there. I can go back and forth. Eventually I will get my car from North Louisiana. Um, TBD how. But I will be getting it, so I'll be able to like drive back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna be fun. I'm doing a lot of traveling. I'll do that. I'll be back in New York at the end of the month. And then I'll be in Nashville. And then I'll be in Connecticut. So like I've got some traveling. I should TikTok it.
Yeah.
All to say.
Hmm.
Or maybe it will be me documenting my mental spiral. Who knows? Who's to say? Who's to say? Either way,
Who's to
maybe
say?
people will watch it. I
Maybe.
don't know.
I'll watch it.
Um, Thank you. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, maybe I'll put us on the TikTok if I figure out how videos work. Get some cute quips from things we've said.
Nice.
Um, and see how it goes. But I don't really know how TikTok works, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
I barely
But
know
yeah, so
how
that's
I barely know how the social media that we actively use works. So,
we were literally sitting on here earlier, and I was like, "How do you make a poll on Facebook?" And there's just a button that says poll. Like we're figuring it out. It's fine. It's fine. So I'll just test it. And this is what I tell all my clients. I'm like, here's how you do TikTok because I clearly know. I'm like, just throw everything against the wall. Like, do different things. Try it with just music. Try it with a day in the life. Try this. Whatever gets hits, leave it up. Whatever doesn't, take it down.
yeah.
Like, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Um, it's fine either way. And then maybe I'll figure out the rest of social media too. But I think it'd be fun. I don't think
Yeah.
Rachel's gonna enjoy it, but I'm gonna try and make her do it with me anyways.
She's
Especially while
gonna
she's
love
driving
it.
and she can't do anything about it.
Right.
Um, I've got on this trend that I was watching last night because I've had a fever for 2 days. I just keep watching TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I got on this trend where this girl, she says, say the weird thing, and then people say weird things afterwards. And I just want to say all the weird things to Rachel. And she has
My
weird
my
things to
problem
say.
my problem is I never see the videos where people say the weird things. I always see the videos where someone says, say the weird thing or do the crazy thing, and then the stitch is not you. They're not talking to you.
Oh,
You and I'm like, because not
yeah.
me. I should not do the weird thing.
I love it. I love it. I'm having such a glorious time hearing the weird things. I've seen probably 5 videos already like that, from that same stitch. And
I love
it's
it.
just wonderful. So I'm gonna figure it out. And I also keep like I was talking to one of my writers earlier and I was like, yeah, she was like, are you on social media? Like, can I follow you? She's like, I don't have your number or whatever. And I was like, yeah, you can follow me on like, any of these social medias. And I was like, I have to get better at it because all the time I tell my clients that they have to do social media and I haven't posted in like 8 months. Like, so
Yeah.
it's like I probably should do as I say and not just try to make them do stuff that I'm not doing.
Yeah.
Which was like, right, I feel that. So,
No, there's apparently a new social media platform that
oh my gosh.
exists that is
Hold,
like
shut up. That's unnecessary. We don't need to do that. Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. Kingston
the
just
fact that you're
went.
talking to an animal and not a child really makes that better. Um, but no, there's this new social media platform that exists that I can't remember what it's called, but it's like unattached to the metaverse and the mega corporations and everything, and it's investor run. And it is has a much simpler monetization process than a lot of these big corporation things. And dad is apparently an investor and said we need to start putting things on there. And I can't remember the name of the company that we apparently bought a
Well,
share in.
good thing you live with him, so you can ask
Yeah,
him.
I know.
And if
But
I start like
so
making
it
shorts,
to check out for soon when we start posting things on this other thing that I will find out what it is.
excellent. I love it. I am not excited about another social media to figure out, but okay, I will do it if your dad's an investor.
Well, but apparently, I mean, the biggest pro is that the monetization process is way simpler than
For
YouTubers.
sure.
So
Yeah, because
that'll be
TikTok doesn't
nice.
pay people to. Um,
Yeah. So
that's fine. I love it.
sweet.
You know what else I love? I love a little spiritual guidance here and there.
Today I decided to go into a weird place to get my spiritual
Great, where?
guidance. And so this says, there's nothing like looking if you want to find something. You certainly usually find something if you look, but it's not always quite the something you were after. J.R.R. Tolkien, The Hobbit.
You know, he's got the best quotes in The Hobbit.
I
Like
know.
I still haven't read any of the Lord of the Rings books, but I've read The Hobbit like 4 times. Like it's just such a gem.
Yeah, I love it. I know. I started the first Lord, like the Fellowship of the
Me
Ring, like
too.
3 times and never finished it, but
Me
I've read The
too.
Hobbit 4 times.
Yeah. Yep. Same.
Doug's reading the Similarian or the Similar the encyclopedia
The
one.
7 million page book.
Yeah, he read that last year, and I was like, I couldn't even finish the Fellowship of the Rings.
Right, right, right. I remember when people started like really getting into that. And they're like, "We're gonna read this. It's gonna be great." And I was like, "There's not a chance. There is not a chance in hell that I can read that. Like, it's not gonna happen." I've
Nope.
started 4 different books in the past week to try and get back into reading, and can't even read past the first chapter. Like, and they're not hard books.
Yeah. No, no, no.
So no, I'm not. I will not be reading a hard book anytime soon. Thank you. But today it is movie time. And
Woohoo!
we are speaking about escaping the madhouse, the Nellie Bly story,
Can I tell
as
you
influenced.
how excited I am to talk about this movie? Because it is not a horror movie.
I know, you're thrilled. It falls under thrillery stuff more than, but it's like true horrible things that happen. So it's definitely much more like
Yeah,
docudrama.
it's biopic of a horrific situation, not
Right.
necessarily horror.
Horror. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It came out January 19th of 2019. It was rated 6.4 out of 10, which honestly feels a little low.
It feels a little low, but I mean, I will say it was originally on Lifetime, and
Yeah,
Lifetime movies don't tend to have the
ratings the other
best
ones do. Yep.
ratings. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I'm sorry, you said January what day?
19th, 2019. Um, the number one song is Without Me by Halsey. This was a big Halsey era for me. So I recall this. And the number one movie was Glass, which is part of that like trilogy of what is it? Red, Split, and
Yeah.
Glass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
never saw Glass. I always wanted to, but then when I realized it was all connected to that first movie, I felt like I should go back and watch that, and then I never did. So I've seen Split, but I haven't seen the others. And the number one book is Long Road to Mercy by David Baldacci. And I've read a couple of his books, and they just don't hit me right. They're just not really that for me. But everyone
Yeah,
loves
we've
them.
talked about him on the
Yeah.
podcast and our feelings on him before, so
Yeah. So on this day, and remember this 2019, an Irish car bomb exploded in Northern Ireland, which is why it's still offensive to order one when you go to an Irish bar. This isn't like a past
yeah.
historical trauma. Um,
Right.
but also
Also,
don't be weird about it.
they're
Like,
also gross, so just
I've
don't
never
drink them.
had one.
They're
Um,
not good.
I believe that. I believe that. But I've never had one because I get annoyed with people that order them. So why would I
Yeah.
have them? This is also the day that RCA dropped R. Kelly because prior to this coming out, the most recent Lifetime movie was Surviving R. Kelly. Um, and
Yeah.
then last but certainly not
He and
least, it
children.
is yeah, we are now circling back around for Diddy, which is great.
Yeah.
That's fine. The world is a mess. Um, Speaking of, I'm not keeping up with Diddy very well because I watched Quiet on Set. Did we talk about this yet?
We talked about Quiet on Set,
Okay.
yeah.
I couldn't remember. There's just so many bad things in the world. Um, but one good thing is it's January 19th, 2019 is Popcorn Day. And I love popcorn. So
I love
that's a
that.
positive. One good thing. Um, the director is Karen Moncrief, who is known for The Dead Girl, Blue Car, The Keeping Hours, and The Trials of Kate McCall. And as a flashback to tie everything together, The Trials of Kate McCall had James Cromwell was one of the stars in it.
Yes.
And then she also worked on 13 Reasons Why and the 2014 version of Flowers in the Attic. And so, yeah, and
What
so a
was
few
her?
things.
I
Yes,
was just looking at something that had James Cromwell in it and on IMDb, and now I can't remember what.
I don't know. Um, she was Gabrielle Pascal on Days of Our Lives, so she also did quite a bit of acting as well as directing. Um, she went to the same high school as Madonna, but not at the same time. And last but certainly not least, she worked one of her other things that was short-lived that she worked on was Touching Evil, but it starred our fave, Vera Farmiga, our fave rock star.
Love her.
Um, it's blowing my mind every time I see her Instagram and it's all the music stuff now.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
I'm ready for it, but I'm still confused. Um, so our writer is Helen Childress, who is known for Reality Bites and Good Girls. And that's kind of it. There's some other stuff that like don't even have like pictures on them, so I think they were like more film fest related. Um, but she is the older sister of Patricia Childress. So, but otherwise, she didn't have a lot happening. Not a lot going on there. Um, our editor is John Gerdebecki, and he is known for The Forbidden Room, Hunter x Hunter, Brands Upon the Brain, and my winnings.
Mm.
Winnipeg? This is Winnipeg. Can't really read my own
Um,
handwriting.
I also figured out it was Marshall. Um, in the movie about Thurgood Marshall with Chadwick Boseman.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Because
Hmm.
Dan saw it for the first time last night and he was talking
Hmm.
about it. And I was like, I know everyone in that movie. And he was like, what? And I was like, well, obviously not like the Hollywood people, but like it was filmed in Buffalo. So all of the minor characters and
Oh,
all of the
fun.
extras and all of the extras are my friends. Like I know everyone who's in that movie. And he goes, what do you mean? Wait, it was filmed in Buffalo? I was like, yeah, it was filmed in Buffalo the summer that I lived in Disney. And he was like, I thought that was city court. And I was like, he was like, it looked like the courthouse. And I was like, it was the courthouse. It was filmed
So
here.
fun.
Literally, I know everyone in that movie. He
I
was,
have not seen it still, but I am familiar with its
but
existence.
yeah, but I didn't
That's really
realize James
funny.
Cromwell was in it. He plays one of the
Hmm,
judges.
I see. He's in like so many random things.
Yeah.
So now let's break it down to the cast. I only grabbed the top four because obviously there's a few. But we
Yeah.
will start with our girl, Christina Ricci,
Ugh,
who plays Nellie Bly, best of the
love
best.
Christina Ricci.
Let me tell you the things she's known for, and then
And then
tell
we
you
can
that
talk about the things that
it's
we know her from.
right. She
Yeah.
is known for Speed Racer, Casper, Buffalo 66, and Mermaids. Those were her top four on IMDb.
Casper is the only one of those that I accept as a possible answer.
Correct, correct. Because otherwise it should be obviously the Addams
The Addams
Family.
Family. Yeah.
I had to like dig deep for that one. Like I was like, why is this not the first thing that came up? And then
Especially with
obviously more.
Wednesday. Like she's in
Yeah.
Wednesday.
'Cause I was gonna say the most recent things she's been in are Wednesday and Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, these people who make these lists sometimes, I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand.
I don't
Um,
understand.
some fun facts about her. She grew up with parents who practiced primal scream therapy. And so like
You can't say that shit as soon as I start to swallow. What?
yeah, so she would be just like hanging out in her room in the middle of the night, and just hear screaming randomly from her parents because they practiced primal scream therapy. Um,
Absolutely not.
they thought it was a way to come to breakthroughs. Maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I'd like to.
I
Um,
I think screaming is important. Um, I think holding in your emotions is bad for you. I don't
mhm.
think screaming leads to a breakthrough. I think it is something you need to do to get an emotion out of your system. But
Fair.
also middle of the night while your children are
Right.
sleeping, not the time to have a breakthrough.
Probably not the time. Not the time. Correct. Yeah. Um, she finds, speak of the devil, finds comfort in the Fellowship of the Ring. That's her like nighttime movie.
Nice.
Um, she was allegedly stalked by Gerard Way. Obviously it's never been proven, but he apparently used to frequent the record store that she used to go to all the time before he was in My Chemical Romance. This was like ages ago. Um, and then she also auditioned for young Amy in Little Women and Claudia in Interview with the Vampire and lost both roles to Kirsten Dunst. So
I can see that. They have very different vibes as people, but like just in like the shape of their face and their like bone
yeah.
structure, their eyes, like for talking about like little kid parts, I can kind of
Mhm.
see how those would be similar.
Yeah, I could see them being similar, but I can also see how like especially in the time frame of like her doing Wednesday, she then wouldn't fit as like Amy or Claudia if
No,
like that's not
especially,
the
I
role
mean,
that people would recognize her for.
Amy, I think could be a little, Amy could be different. Like it could be done because Amy's just young and pretty and selfish. Like there's not a lot of,
Yeah.
especially young Amy.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
was
role that
saying
she could have
especially
done.
young.
Um, Claudia, though, there's something so heartbreakingly fragile about her that I don't know that Christina Ricci could have done.
Yeah.
She's too intense in a good way.
She's got such a strong personality and like
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know that she could have done the the doll likeness that
right.
Claudia has.
Yeah, I agree. So that's Christina Ricci. So next we go to Judith Light,
Judith
who
Light.
plays Matron Grady. She is known for Who's the Boss, Transparent, The Menu, and Ugly Betty. Um,
Love her
there
and
weren't
Ugly
like a ton
Betty.
of fun facts about her, just like generic facts of here's where she lives, this is what she did. But she did
Yeah.
receive her Hollywood star the same year this movie came out. She got it September 12th of 2019. Um, and her Broadway debut, because she does theater as well,
Yeah.
was a revival of A Doll's House,
I
which
was
also just
coming
had a revival a couple of years
That's
ago.
what I was coming here to say. She won a Tony in 2012.
Hmm
and in 2013 and in 2016. Like,
Yeah, yeah, she is one of like I think she was one of three people to win consecutive Tonys. I think it was in 3 years straight. I think it was 12, 13,
uh,
maybe 11, 12,
no, she
13.
was nominated 11, 12, 13, but she did not win in 11.
Got it. Maybe it was just that she won 2 years straight with
Yeah.
or maybe it was they were nominated 3 years in a row. I don't know, but it was like three people. I don't know who the other two were. I forgot.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have Josh Bowman, who plays Dr. Josiah. He is known for Revenge, which is where I
Okay.
knew him from. Um, Doctor Who 2018, he played Krasko. Krasko. I definitely watched that season and don't know anything about this.
Well, yeah, but that
Um,
seems like a character who was in one episode, and so I for sure don't know how I'm supposed to know him.
it
What was his
does.
last name? Joshua Bowman?
Josh Bowman, yeah. Um, and then Level Up and The Night Passenger. He also played Jack the Ripper in a show called Time After Time that I loved that apparently no one else in the world did because it got canceled after the first season. And I was so bummed because I really liked it.
I know why I don't remember that episode.
Yeah, that's okay. It means nothing to me.
It was the episode about Rosa Parks. So I don't remember anyone in it except for Rosa Parks.
Oh, was that with
Jodie
um
Whittaker. It was the new, yeah, it was
oh, I did
the
see that one.
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I thought I watched 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you watch Revenge?
No.
Oh, well, you should, first of all. Great
Yeah.
show. Um, and he is married to Emily Van Camp, who is the lead.
Oh, he's married to
Um,
Emily Van. I know Emily Van Camp.
yeah, I did not realize they were married, but obviously they met on Revenge because they both played two of the
Nice.
main roles. And
Nice.
then they got married in 2017, and they're still married. And he initially wanted to be a rugby player, but kept getting hurt, and so it didn't happen for him. Um, and then last but not least, we have Anya Savchik, I think is how you say it, Savcic,
Okay.
who played Lottie. And she is known, there's no
Mm,
information on her, but she is known for Loudermilk, Big Sky, Ricky Stenicki, which is that new movie that I haven't seen yet, that people keep talking about.
I haven't even heard of it. This
Um,
is the first time ever
it's
hearing of
got
it.
who's in it? It's got a lot of big people in it. I can't remember who it. Oh my God. Seriously? No. No. Stop it. Stop it. Sorry. The cat got out the door. And then the dogs were trying to go next. And she's also known for Dirt Gently, which I only
Mm,
started watching because of our show, because we keep
yeah.
talking about people that were on it. And it is really
Right.
good. I haven't finished it yet, but I did really like it. Um, and so that is our setup. So now let's get into it. What did you think about the movie?
I really liked it.
Me too.
I mean, it definitely had like the melodrama that a Lifetime biopic has, but
Sure.
it didn't feel
Like a Lifetime movie.
like it didn't feel like a Lifetime
Hmm.
movie. Like it didn't feel like that at all.
Yep.
Um, my question, I guess my main question for the movie really is how much of it is true? Obviously, like I know
Mhm.
Nellie's story is true. I know her going to the thing, and I know that the details that they used of what was happening in the asylum is based on what she wrote in her book. But I guess my real question is, what the fuck was up with the doctor? Because
Um, from what I could tell, I obviously have not read the book because we watched it today.
yeah,
But from what I could tell is he's not really a part of it.
yeah,
Her
because
storyline does not mention him at all in her time at the asylum.
what that was the thing that felt lifetimey to me. The only part that really felt lifetimey to me was the doctor being like obsessively in love with her to the point of hiding
Hmm.
her from her husband and like saying that she wasn't
Yeah.
there and keeping her hair in his fucking dresser and shit like that. Like that was where I was like, "Oh, this is a Lifetime movie."
Yeah. So
Um,
the dramatized parts that are like big dramatized parts that are not in the real life stuff
yeah.
are the doctor, her husband, and the amnesia part. She did pretend to have an amnesia, which I'll tell you more about, but she never actually had it.
Right.
Um, and in the movie, obviously she does, and her memory has to come back to her. But
Yeah.
yeah. So those are the big things that were dramatized. Everything else is kind of like hit or miss. This show did get a lot of flack for it because people keep trying to tell her story, and apparently no one's happy about the way it's been done. There was another adaptation with Kate Mara who played Nellie Bly,
Okay.
and I didn't see it obviously, but it came out in 2014 or 2015, and it had horrendous ratings. So this is one of the better responses, but it still had a lot of flack because of how
And
dramatized it
it
was.
still only had a 6.4 rating.
Yeah. And like I get that like you want to have realistic things, but also in something like this, like it's
The
not like
story
they took away
itself
from
is
her
art.
story.
Right. The story itself, this movie, yeah, it didn't really take away from what she did by having the
Mhm.
the drama in there.
Right.
But the story itself, what she did and what happened in the asylum is fucked up enough. Why do we need to dramatize it?
Yeah, and that's true. And that's true. And there are plenty of like documentaries, there are plenty of like other
Yeah.
adaptations, which I'll tell you more about. Um, but yeah, I mean it is, and it's Lifetime, so they're gonna dramatize it. But
Right.
I
But
there's
but
something about a Lifetime movie.
to be fair, I've watched a lot of Lifetime movies. In
Hmm.
fact, I had a high school class that we literally just watched Lifetime movies. It was really
That's
ridiculous.
amazing.
Um,
I'm a big
but
Lifetime movie watcher in hotels.
yeah, but so I've seen my fair share of really bad Lifetime movies. And like I
Mhm.
said, if I hadn't seen on Hulu that this was originally on Lifetime, I probably wouldn't have recognized that it was a Lifetime
Yeah.
movie.
Yep. Um, it did kind of feel more like like a cable TV movie than like a Hollywood film.
Right. No, it had it had
Um,
yeah, it had a
so
TV, it definitely had a TV budget.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. But
but
yeah, I agree. It wouldn't have been Lifetime, even though they did get into their like thrillery elements. Like I have watched so many random like bad thrillers that they've created on
yeah.
Lifetime. Jesus. Hey, stop. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it was a good movie. Um, yeah, I liked it too. I thought it had really good pacing. Like it's one of those things that
It
sometimes you do.
I did think it had really good pacing. I thought that it it didn't like there were moments where I was like, this is moving too slow
Mhm.
because I thought that it was going to attempt to actually be a thriller. And I was like, if you're going to try to scare me, you have missed the mark to do
Right.
that.
You
But
missed your opportunity.
yeah, but in terms of actual like timing for storytelling, the pacing was really, really good. And I didn't notice awkward breaks for where
Hmm.
commercials would have gone.
Yeah. And I feel like you get a lot with, especially like with docudramas. Um, you do get a lot of bad pacing because they want to include too many things from the original story. Like if they're basing off something real, things that are unnecessary. They want to make sure they include everything that people know about already, whether it makes sense or not. And I feel like this did not follow that same pattern, which was really nice. And again,
No,
surprising coming from
and
Lifetime.
it did, and I think it is because yeah, you're right. Like a lot of times, biopic, like dramatized biopics like that, try to like throw everything that you know about someone, and there was nothing about any other thing that Nellie Bly is famous for. And obviously, like you, if you know Nellie Bly, chances are you know her for one of two reasons. One is this story about the Madhouse. The other
Hmm.
is the Around the World in 80 Days story.
Hmm.
But they didn't try to do both.
Right.
It was just focused on this one thing she did and she wrote about. And so that was really, really good.
Yeah. I really liked it. Um, and this was obviously inspired because we just finished Asylum, and Sarah Paulson's character was pretty heavily based off of her. They like to pretend like she wasn't. But this is one of the reasons that I get so angry with how Sarah Paulson's character was in the show, because being based off of Nellie Bly was only a likable character. She was a very strong woman and she was very intense,
Oh,
but
but
she was
nothing she ever did in her life was for fame or ambition. ever. She
No.
never she cared about being a journalist and writing to help people.
Yep.
She did not want to be famous. She just wanted to have a platform big enough that people would listen to her so she could be a voice. Like it was never about fame,
Yep.
which
She
this movie also made very clear.
mhm. And I thought that Christina Ricci was an excellent person to play her. Like she did
Mhm.
because again, she has that strength, but she has that like
She's
kindness and she has
she's
that character.
unassuming.
Yeah.
She's not, and like everybody always talks about it, like people say that Nellie was beautiful, and like you see pictures of her from like
Hmm.
the 1900s. She was a beautiful woman,
Yeah.
and um they talk multiple times in the movie about how beautiful she is, which I do believe is part of the dramatization about it. Because of
No,
the whole
that's
no,
that's
but
something
I
that was
know
said.
no I know, but the way that they talked about it in this movie was part of the dramatization because it was part of Dr. Josiah's like obsession with her and how beautiful she was.
It
Um,
was part of Dr. Size, but it was a lot in the papers while she was in the
yes,
asylum. Like, who
yes,
is
no,
this
so
beautiful girl that's so crazy? Like,
yes, but
yeah.
that's so, but Christina Ricci isn't like the kind of beautiful where you're like, oh my God, she's so stunning. I could never have a
Hmm.
conversation with her. Like you wouldn't want
Yeah.
like a Heidi Klum trying to play this
Sure.
character.
Yeah.
But Christina Ricci is gorgeous in a very unassuming way.
Hmm. Yeah. And that's the thing with like Sarah Paulson, I feel like is also a little more underrated in her looks. I wouldn't say she's like a drop dead gorgeous actress, but she is
Agreed.
much more proper,
Yes.
I guess. And like when you compare when you look at like season one of Murder House and she plays the medium, I feel so much similarity by the way she played the medium and the way she played Nellie Bly or she played Lana Winters. She
Yeah.
has that same intensity, that same journalistic ambition that you see in both seasons. And it's like for whenever I first watched these, I thought I had to go back and look at it because I thought that the medium was Lana Winters and we were just seeing her in two different seasons. Um,
I honestly, so like we talked a lot when we did the wrap up last week about
mhm,
how intense the acting is in this show, and like Evan Peters and Jessica Lange and Zachary Quinto all just blew it out of the fucking park in terms of
mhm,
being different characters than they were in the first season. And Dylan McDermott
yeah,
too, amazing. I don't feel that way about Sarah Paulson,
yeah,
and I'm not a big fan of hers in general. And so that is one of the things that I'm curious to see as we continue going through different American Horror Story
mhm.
seasons is do I am I going to change my mind, or is she always going to feel like a slightly different shade of
Version
the
of
same
that. Yeah,
coin?
yeah. That I am interested to talk more about that as we go along as well because
Yeah.
I think I know what you're gonna think. I have feelings about that, but I obviously will not spoil it for you
No, but
yet.
I know a lot of people who are really, really, really big fans of hers and will like see anything she
Mhm.
does. And I'm just not. And to be fair, it's
Well,
not like I'm super well versed in I haven't seen everything she's done. I haven't really got and I'm not really like and I haven't seen any of her stage work, obviously. But I'm
yeah, I haven't
not
either.
I
Well,
don't know.
and here's
She just doesn't seem dynamic to me.
yeah. And here's the thing about her. Like, I agree. I feel like I see her in a lot of different things, and she gets all of these high recognitions. And granted, I've not watched Ratchet because I'm terrified to. Although people said I could sit through it, it'd be fine, but it looks really gory.
I watched one episode of it, and to be fair, the one episode I watched was not gory because I think it was like the first episode, so we didn't get
Hmm.
there yet. But again, I don't think she played a different character in
Yeah.
Ratchet than she did in what I've seen
Um,
so far.
yeah, I think that she's not necessarily good at being dynamic, like you said. The thing is, everything that she's in has such good writing. And
Yeah,
so those films and some of the people she's acting with, for example, when she works with Jessica Lange and she has these like bounce off characters, like she's seen in that same light. And like
yeah,
maybe if you take it at face value, like if you just watch this, like, and to be fair, before I knew a lot about Nellie Bly, I did like I would have liked her a little bit better. Um, but like take like I don't know, anything I've seen her. I watched the movie Run and I really liked it. I thought she did a great job. again, she's, she's a little more dynamic in that role, but not insanely different, I guess. Did you ever watch that film?
No.
It's really good, but
Okay.
it's such a good storyline, and it's written, and the other characters are so emotional and so intriguing and pull you in that you love the movie. And then I think she gets caught up in that, and as a one-off you're like,
Yeah.
this is great, she's fantastic. And then once you start kind of analyzing it and seeing her in so many other things, you're like, oh, she's
Yeah.
just really good at mirroring other cast members while
Yeah.
playing her same role. Like, so it's
Right.
not that her role is bad for her, it's just not dynamic.
I mean, and to be fair, there are a lot of actors that are
Mhm.
good actors that are the same. Like I I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet.
Okay, I haven't either.
So I can't speak to what Robert Downey Jr. does in Oppenheimer. But I would be a fool to sit here and try to tell you that pre-Oppenheimer, Robert Downey Jr. had diversity in the roles he was playing. That doesn't make him a bad actor. I'm not saying Sarah Paulson is a
Yeah,
bad actor. I'm just saying I haven't seen her in anything that shocks me,
diversifies, yeah.
that gives me this idea that she is a shapeshifter or a meth like
Hmm.
an intense craftsman. She's a good actor. But that there's
Right.
levels to that. I don't think she is in the same category as someone like Jessica Lange.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
And
And one thing about,
even speaking of this
go ahead.
movie, I think Christina Ricci and Judith Light are both actresses that
Hmm.
are phenomenally diverse in the things that they
Yeah.
do.
Oh my gosh, Christina Ricci, you haven't seen Yellow Jackets yet, have you?
No.
She is just, oh my gosh, she's incredible in everything she does. I
But I mean,
cannot
but
get
even
enough of
like
her.
Christina Ricci in The Addams Family as Wednesday
And
and Christina
yeah,
Ricci in Wednesday as the only teacher that has
yeah,
like a drop of sunshine in her.
I
Like
know.
it's just it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean Christina Ricci in the Addams Family and in Casper, like those were close to
Yeah.
the same time, and those were such different roles. Like,
Yeah.
so
No.
it is
And
incredible.
you think about Judith Light, and Judith Light has a severity to her just in
Hmm.
her the way she carries
The way she
herself.
looks, yeah.
But Matron Grady and
Hmm.
like I can't think of a specific role, but when I picture Judith
Who's the
Light, I
boss?
yeah, but I mean like when I picture Judith Light, I picture straight sunshine. Like she to
Hmm.
me
Yep.
embodies sunshine. She is warm. She like the color yellow just breathes out of her pores. None of that was here.
No, absolutely not. No, you almost saw it when she interacted with her bird that she loved.
I didn't
But
see
even
that.
still,
That was very Miss Havisham to me. Just like being a
that's true. Yeah,
crazy old lady, like
that's
talking
true.
like the only thing she loves is this fucking bird. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
I will say I was very concerned that she was going to kill the bird in the end as like a, we're all going
Oh,
out. And
God.
when we're getting busted, that was insane.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, no,
actually
she's great.
I would love to see Judith Light as Miss Havisham.
That'd be
Holy
really fun.
shit, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I would like that. Josh Bowman, I haven't seen a lot of. I don't know. He has diversity, but he has this very specific personality. So like his characters are very different because he played, like I said, time after time, he played Jack the Ripper. And so like he
Yeah.
plays this like leaning towards villainous character in everything he's in, but they're very different roles.
Like the
Like,
just like the slight the charming rogue who convinces you he's good and then isn't.
right. But like he never is good in time after time. He's just Jack the Ripper. Like he doesn't have
Yeah.
charm. And then in Revenge, which you'll watch it one day in 10 years,
Yeah.
he plays like he's got his moments, but for the most part is a villainous character. But like the whole time. And I will say in this one, he starts off and he's a little more um more like lovable. And I didn't know that he was gonna turn out to be bad until later on. Because I thought that he started out a little more like the light of hope in this
Yeah.
film, you know?
Um,
Um,
one thing about him though, I have to say, he played he played a great character as a teenager in the CW show, not CW. ABC Family show Make It or Break It about the gymnasts.
I didn't watch that one. That was like
he
the
was
one
one.
I didn't watch.
I watched every episode and I was like, oh my God. Um,
That's so funny.
he plays like a really, really awkward, sweet kid who all of the girls are in love with and they're all trying to sleep with, but he thinks that he comes out as bisexual and kisses one of the boys and he's really awkward and sweet and
That's cute.
and it's like but he was like 16, so like
Sure, sure. Yeah.
um
Yeah, he's a
but
baby.
he was a baby. But yeah, no, he does. He has kind of a leering
Yeah.
vibe to him.
And it is casting a lot. Like he is casting
Yeah.
those roles because like just seeing him again, like I said, I thought he was gonna be like a good character in this one. But he just ended up the bad guy still. As always,
Um,
the weak bad guy too.
the weak bad guy.
Um,
The also related to things we've already talked about on the podcast, when I went to check
mhm.
his IMDb because I thought he played Max, but I wasn't sure. Um, he was also a voice for multiple Final Fantasy games.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I did see that.
It's like just bringing it back
Yeah,
around.
right. Just recircle with that one. Yeah. I would like to stop. I would like to tell you a bit about Nellie Bly as a person because she has got a crazy storyline. Like she's done so
Yeah.
many things.
Yeah.
I did not know about the Around the World in 80 Days thing. That was her.
Mm.
But she did it in 72 days.
Hmm.
And that is very interesting.
Yeah.
So as a
Love
young
her.
girl, so her name is Elizabeth Cochran Seaman is her married name.
Yep.
As a young girl, she was often called Pink. That was her nickname because she just wore pink all the time.
Love it.
Um, yep, I thought that was really funny. She's from Pennsylvania. Um, Small area, didn't have a lot going for her family. Um, she started as a column for the Pittsburgh Dispatch, where she wrote things like what girls are good for, and talked about how girls were principally for birthing children and keeping house. And then she wrote a response to that for Lonely Orphan Girl. And so she's always kind of been this like cheeky, like buck the system type writer, which is
Yeah.
fun. And she was mad when they made her all these other things. She
Right.
wrote the
Well, I
girl
mean, and
puzzle.
they showed that in the movie when she was like, I don't want to write about rainbow cakes just because I'm a girl.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that was her legit like struggle in life.
Hmm. Yeah. And she wrote about the girl puzzle, which argued that not all women would marry and that what was needed for better jobs for women. And mind you, so this book came out in 1887. So she's writing all of this in the 1800s. Um, and then she also wrote about mad marriages, which were about how divorce affected women. And she had
Yeah.
argued for reform of divorce laws. Um, yeah, so she did a lot of stuff. She ended up naming her editor name of Nellie Bly was named after an African American title character in the popular song Nellie Bly by Stephen Foster.
Right.
Um,
And like and you have to remember that like at the time that she was writing this in the 1880s, like or in like the 1870s and 1880s, um so Charles Dickens died in 1870. And Charles Dickens, he wrote fiction, but he like basically spearheaded like a lot of reform in England. So like
yeah,
up until like 20 years before Nellie Bly was writing anything, men still didn't have livable working conditions. And she was like,
yeah.
that's great, but also women.
Also
Like,
women. Yeah, exactly.
so it's not like she's doing this in a time where like men are succeeding. The working class man also fucked.
Also women. Yeah,
And she was like, but why don't we just like fix it for everyone?
right. It was really funny because literally one of the sentences starts with burdened again with theater and arts reporting. And I was like, how miserable. Like I love how she's like, I can't stand doing these theater and arts reporting. But shortly after that, she used her quote unquote celebrity status that she gained from asylum reporting and did an exclusive interview with the allegedly insane killer Lizzie Halliday. And I don't know if you recognize the name, but she was an Irish American serial killer. And she was the first woman to be sentenced to death by the electric chair.
Yes.
So she did an interview with her. She did the Around the World in 80 Days. Um, she was also an inventor in her own right.
Yep.
Her husband did a lot of inventions and stuff, and there's
Yeah.
rumors that some of the things that are patented under his name are not his, but hers. But she does have two patents for a novel milk can and for a stacking garbage can, and those are both under her name. She was one of the leading women industrialists in the United States. Um, and she ended up going bankrupt because of her negligence and embezzlement by a factory manager. So that sucks for her. She's got a lot of honors. In 1998, she was inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame. She was honored with U.S. postage stamp in 2002. And then the Roosevelt Island, which was renamed after in 1973, it used to be the Blackwell's Island, which is what where she went to Bellevue, was renamed Roosevelt Island, and they put a statue of her um, up, and it
Uh,
says the girl, and it's called the Girl Puzzle.
If
Um,
you,
and it's
and
just
also, I know I talk about this podcast all the time, but Stuff You Missed in History class did a really good episode
Mhm.
on her. It was back when they still did only like 20-minute episodes. It was when they were doing 20-minute episodes, not 3-minute episodes, but it was like 20-minute episodes, not like 40-minute episodes.
Yeah,
But it was in March of 2010, if you're looking, and if you just search Stuff You Missed in History class Nellie Bly, it will come up. So if you
I
want
will
some
definitely check
more
that out.
about that. And it talks a lot about stunt journalism and like what she was
Oh,
doing with
nice.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, because she really kind of invented a lot of that. Like no one was really
Mhm.
doing that at the time,
Yeah,
especially a woman.
for
Um,
sure.
yeah. But yeah, and I'll also give you a little bit more history of how exactly she ended up at Bellevue. So the story starts with she had been wanting to do this, and she had been writing for, the Pittsburgh Dispatch, and then in New York, she was writing with Jonathan Pulitzer,
Mm, yeah.
and
Pulitzer on
for
the world.
yeah, of the world. And he kept trying to get her to do, of course, like one-offs and things she didn't care about. And she brought up
I
this idea and she was like, this would be great.
I always remember
Um,
that Pulitzer's newspaper is the world because of the line from Newsies where they say Pulitzer may own the world, but he don't own us.
I did not. I never knew that,
Yes.
but that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, so in order to prove that she was insane, she booked herself in a boarding house and she kept herself up all night so that her eyes were like bloodshot. And she made a lot of like crazy like faces in the mirror to like see what looked the most insane. She refused to go to bed. The police were summoned after that, and she was taken to a courtroom, and this is where she claimed to have amnesia and said
Yeah.
that she didn't remember anything. And so the judge said she had been drugged. But then she was um doctors examined, I couldn't remember the word
Yeah.
examined her, and it turns out she was like they didn't have drugs at the time, but they weren't very good at testing it anyways. But they all
Yeah.
declared her insane. They were like they called her quote unquote positively demented. She's a
Um,
hopeless case, needs to put where someone will take care of her. That's what they said about her.
to be
So
fair, we were still in a time where women got treated for hysteria like
right.
weekly. So let's
Yeah. Yeah. And so she was put into Bellevue. Um and she became the case of the pretty crazy girl, which attracted media attention. And they kept saying, who is this insane girl? Who is this mysterious waif? And this is where they commented a lot on her like looks and stuff. And they were like, she's so beautiful. How is she this insane? And all of these things. So once she
I can tell
got
you right now, the more beautiful you are, the probably the more insane you are.
that is the crazy hat scale that people reference.
Yeah. I one time this was a very long time ago, but it was I was with my brother and my cousin Tyler and we were sitting there and Tyler was like, I just don't understand why all pretty girls have to be crazy. And I was like, what are you saying about me? And simultaneously my cousin was like, that you're crazy, and my brother was like, that you're not pretty.
Whoa, whoa, which one?
I
One is
was
better
like,
than the
wait a
other.
second.
Both things can't be true. That's so funny. Um, Yeah, so they're going through this. So once she got into the asylum, she immediately switched gears and started acting like herself. And so she didn't even pretend to be insane when she got there. She
Yeah.
just started befriending the patients, and she began to report her so then they started reporting her ordinary actions as symptoms of her illness because they
Yeah.
didn't have anything else to go off of because she wasn't acting insane. Um,
And God forbid
but
you say that the male doctors made a mistake and the woman wasn't crazy.
Right. And so she started talking to all the patients and she had realized she was like, I think there are some people here that are as sane as I am. And that's what, what she was hoping to like expose some of that and the conditions and a lot of conditions. There's so many different like books. Hers was obviously the first, but there's so many other books that have come out about Bellevue, about, any of the other insane asylums.
No, I
And
think
so
the
take your pick. They all have
ones
horrible.
that I know, I like I said, I know a lot of the movie has gotten a lot of flack for what is or is not true in it,
Mhm.
but the one thing that stood out to me in the movie that I don't know if it comes directly from her book, but I do know it was true at the time and it really like gutted me was the women who were there because they didn't speak English.
Yeah. Yep, that is a huge part of it. Women
Oh,
who
that
didn't listen to their husbands, which we also talked about while we talked about asylum.
yeah,
Um, and
that
the
just gutted me.
yeah, the conditions that were in the film were actually really, really mild compared to what actually happened. And I'm sure that
Oh,
was a Lifetime
I
element,
believe it. I believe it.
but like there
There's
were
only so much you can actually show on cable TV.
Yeah, I mean, there were rats, there were terrible living conditions. They did feed them gruel, which just looks like cream of wheat on the TV film, but like
I mean, it
they
didn't
would
look
feed them like rotten
appetizing.
meat. No, no, it didn't look appetizing. They fed them like spoiled meats. They like it was not good. And she even
Yeah.
said she was like, even someone sane that's entered here, if they're here 2 months, they're going to be insane on the other side. Like there's no way around it. And
Yeah.
then she did get out because the Pulitzer came and got her out. That was the whole situation. He said they would leave her there for 10 days and then he would come and get her released, and he did. Um, so that was that. There have been other films about it. So, like I mentioned, we obviously watched this one. There was
Yeah.
another film called 10 Days in a Madhouse. It was an indie film which starred Caroline Berry, Christopher Lambert, Kelly LeBrock, and Julia Chantry. And that was in 2015. And then we had the Kate Mara one was a TV series that came out in 2017. So I had my years wrong.
Oh.
2017, and it was based on 10 Days in a Madhouse, written by Sarah Thorpe. And that's the one that starred Kate Mara. And then there's also a stage adaptation that premiered an original musical created by Jennifer Hedstrom and Karen Sari, titled 10 Days in a Madhouse. It came out in 2022 in Wisconsin. And I think
Oh.
there was another stage adaptation. Let's see. Yeah, in 1946, there was a Broadway musical called Nellie Bly, and it was by Johnny Burke and Jimmy Van Housen. So, like, it's
Okay.
a big one. It ran for 16 performances, though, so very short-lived. In 1990s, there was a playwright, Lynn Shrite, who wrote and toured Did You Lie, Nellie Bly, a one-woman show. And then there was an opera that came out September of last year in Philadelphia. The music was by Rena Orth and the libretto by Hannah Moscovich. So,
Let me let me tell
what a
you,
time.
a lot of these like new I can't read the article about the opera because it's on Washington Post and I don't have a subscription.
Mm.
Um, but a lot of so I worked on an opera a couple of years ago, and the opera community is not very large actually. So like once you like know some people in the opera world, you can have connections to everyone,
Interesting.
which
Hmm.
even like internationally,
Oh, wow.
it's very strange how small it actually is. Um, but there's this like phenomenon of writing these small operas that like then don't make it very far, but they get these small operas about like really fascinating women in history who didn't get their stories told. And those, so I'm like
I love
really,
that.
I love it. I saw one when I went to Savannah and crashed my car. It was because I was on because I went to see my friend perform in an opera called about Alice Ripley, who
Oh, I bet that was interesting.
oh, and the maestro who wrote it, Michael Chang, is phenomenal, and his wife is a like literature doctorate who I'm obsessed with. Like they're amazing. But the opera was beautiful and it was really interesting. Um, and so like I would love to just like have like a opera festival where we just did all these local American operas about badass women in history.
Yes. I love opera. I have not seen very many of them, but I do really enjoy them.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Nellie Bly herself has been portrayed in a lot of things, some that are more fun than others. Obviously, all of the stories about her she's in, but she also appears as a central character in the film An American Tale: The Mystery of the Night Monster,
What the
which I didn't know.
fuck?
Yeah, like the cartoon. And I had no idea. I guess that's the sequel though. I don't know that I saw the sequel, so
Yeah, no,
maybe
it is the sequel. I think I've only seen the sequel once, but I don't remember this being a
well,
thing.
she's in it. And then there's a lot of like cop show. There's Tales of Wells Fargo, Jack's Back, like Voyagers. Um, if you stay tuned for Mary Kate's new podcast, The West Wing, in season 2, episode 5, um, their First Lady Abby Bartlett dedicates a memorial in Pennsylvania in honor of Nellie Bly and convinces the president to mention her and other female historic figures during his weekly radio address. So
Yeah.
she'll come back for you.
Fun fact,
She
we were watching it and I was like, oh my God, you know what episode this is? And he was, and Dan was like, what? And I was like, it's Abby's first episode. And he was like, I
I've
am
never
so,
seen the
so,
show.
yeah, and she's the first lady. And he goes, I am so surprised you like her because she's just like a very, very strong liberal woman. And I was like, yes, but like I love her for being a strong liberal woman because it's not about the politics. It's about the fact that she is a badass woman who does not take
Yeah.
shit from people. Like it's not the political parts of it. Like there was she like I forgot what she even did in that first episode, but I go that see that conversation? That is why.
That's so funny.
She's a
I
badass.
can't wait to watch it. I've always
And
wanted to watch it, so.
she's played by Stockard Channing. Yeah,
Ooh.
she's fucking amazing.
Uh, the best. Yeah, she's intense then. I love it already. I'm already
Yeah.
obsessed. Um, she's also been featured on 2 episodes of Drunk History, which I also don't recall, but need to apparently go back and find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that's really it. There's some other like little things that weren't that big about her. But one fun fact I had left about her was she hosted a picnic for 750 of New York City's orphans. She had a passion for finding orphans good homes, and in 1920 in June, she hosted over 700 orphans and a trip to Coney Island. And 2 taxi cab companies provided the transportation. The mayor himself was there. He greeted him at City Hall, and they were driven to Brooklyn to partake in a picnic, complete with balloons. And she would later say it was one of the best days of her life.
And I share two of my favorite fun facts about her.
Absolutely.
One, there is a species of spider named after her.
Yeah. I didn't say that one because I don't like spiders, but
I
I
know,
did
but I
see
love it.
that.
No, but the other one, you probably also saw this, because it is on the Wikipedia, is that she's one of the featured women in the book Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've ever read that book.
I haven't.
It's amazing. One of my students had it and brought it in because we do a project called History Comes Alive where the kids have to like write whole like biographies but as a first person speech, and they have to dress up as the character and like give the speech as if they're like a historical figure come back to life.
Nice.
And so one of my girls brought in this book to like show me some people that she was thinking of using for her project. And it's a great book
I'll have
for
to look
like
into it.
yeah, for especially like if you have kids and you want to teach them about badass women in history, it is a phenomenal book.
Oh, always a good thing to have on hand
Yeah.
for children. Um, no, I love that. Well, that is all I have about this film. Do you have any last minute thoughts before we start to wrap her up?
No, I think obviously like the point of watching it was because Nellie Bly is amazing. I think in terms of the film, um, I it I had like I think that some of the characters were not very well written. Um, but I also think that that is a product of it being a TV movie. Because
Hmm.
what I would really have loved more on were the like a more better deep dive into the two nurses.
Yeah.
Like I would have, that would have been, but obviously then it wouldn't be the Nellie Bly story. But they made them
Yeah.
interesting enough that I cared,
That you know
but
there's
not
a reason that they're the way they are. Like
right.
Finn
Like
is like
interest.
clearly needs money for something and Group like
It's
has had a lot of
fucked.
hurt in her past, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, but there's clearly they put in too much effort for them to be side characters and not enough effort to have no
Hmm.
answer to the question.
Yeah.
And like obviously like I don't love that her husband was the one who rescued her
Yeah.
in the
And
movie.
that's because it's not the real story either. But it's a Lifetime movie, so
Exactly. And that's the thing is like if
yeah.
we're trying to show that she's a badass woman and she did all of this on her own, why have Bat be the one to rescue her? It didn't
Yeah. And it
those
was because
are
they showed that like Pulitzer like didn't care and he was just like, no, this is what it is. But like he's the one who came in like as her boss and was like, like because obviously someone had to come get her, but that didn't take away from her
but
when he did it.
no, but when Pulitzer did it and Pulitzer was in on her doing this and like sponsored her doing it and also actually showed up at the asylum to
Mm,
rescue her and publish her papers, it A shows that Pulitzer had a bigger heart than people want to believe he did. And B, um, also like
it was logistics, like
it
it
was
wasn't
like
emotional.
yeah, and also like it shows that everything that she did was because she was strong enough as a woman in a career
Hmm.
to do it. She didn't need to be rescued. She wasn't a damsel. And the one thing about this movie and probably why it got some flack is between the amnesia and the love triangle, she became more feminized and damselized than she ever was
Hmm.
as a person.
Yeah. And speaking of like the stories that were kind of like thrown in that you didn't get enough of, maybe, with Matron Grady, I kind of felt that way about her because they threw in like that really, that big reveal about how terrible the priest was that she was working under, but then like kind of left it. I know that like Nellie Bly
Like
brings it back at
they
the end and she's like, I'm
it's
sorry you
like
went through that, but this isn't a reason to treat
yeah.
other people this way. But it was like maybe we wanted to know more about Matron Grady,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Um, but I am glad that we watched this film because I do feel like Asylum really did a disservice to the Nellie Bly
Yeah.
story. So
Yes.
I'm glad we were able to like come back around and like watch something that like with whatever, it has, the criticism it has against it, it's still the Nellie Bly story. And you actually get to
Yeah,
know more about her
and
and what she did. Like,
it's still truer to her character of as a
mhm.
person than Lana Winters is.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Lana Winters was like loosely based, but like not loosely enough that you didn't know who it was.
Mhm.
Like it
Yeah,
was clear
if
that
you
it
know
was based on
anything
her.
about Blackwell Island and that and Nellie Bly's story, you know that that's what was happening
Yeah, yeah. And I like knew about that, but I did not realize that it was called Blackwell Island before.
before
Um,
Roosevelt. Yeah,
but I also haven't been to Roosevelt Island. So
neither.
one day
Um,
I'll go. I always say I want to go take the trolley across or whatever it's
you
called.
know what I always say I'm gonna do? Go see Sleep No More before it closes.
It keeps pushing back. It got pushed back again
I'm
through May.
through May. I thought it was only till the
Yeah.
last time I saw it, it was till April 12th.
Oh, I thought it got pushed back again through May. But yeah,
Maybe.
we do keep talking about that. We've been talking about that for what, 3 years now?
Yeah. Since
That's
it
crazy.
opened back up after COVID.
Yeah. It was when you came last time because we were gonna try then see that and
We
we
were gonna
saw a Woman
try
in Black
we
oh
saw
no,
Woman
we
in
saw
Black.
Woman in Black
We saw Woman
and
in
then we
Black,
were
which
gonna
was
talk
also
about.
at the McKittrick, but Sleep No More hadn't come back
Yeah.
open from um through May 27th.
So yeah, it got extended again. I was like, I think that just happened like last week.
Oh, but like
Um,
it's like hella sold out.
yeah, yeah. That's why they keep extending it because they're making so much money on it. These tickets are
Right.
like no less than $100 a ticket.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's such a bummer. I've been looking, I've tried like the giveaway, and I think the giveaways are $100 a ticket even. Like it's rough. Um, but yeah. All right. Well, Do we punch
My
people in
God.
movies? Do you want to punch anyone? Do you want to
I don't
throw
really want
anyone
to punch
away?
anyone.
What's all right? I don't really want to either. I don't know if we do that. I've forgotten, so it's fine. But if you have any thoughts, if you want to learn more about Nellie Bly, there's plenty of things out there. But in the meantime, you can email us
Wait,
deathandaliens@gmail.com. What?
wait. Before you sign off, we just watched a movie and we have no idea what we're
Oh my
watching
God.
next week. Before you sign off,
So
we don't know what we're watching next week.
we do. I did check it before, and it hadn't quite gone off. Let me recheck it again. Papa, could you go away? This cat. Um, it was a close call, but
Did
at 40
anybody vote on the poll
on
on
Facebook.
Facebook? Oh, just
Just
you.
me. Just me. I was trying to get it started. So
Yeah.
we're just using the Instagram poll. It's fine.
Yeah.
But with 42% on Instagram and a very close run, we are going to be watching Hannibal. So I'm very excited about it. I think it's going to be really fun. It was a close call. Under the Dome was right under
Was
the
it? I thought Penny Dreadful was the closest.
Nope, it was Under the Dome was 33%, Penny Dreadful was 17, and Twin Peaks was 8. So it's very
Oh,
close calls
a
there.
lot more people voted since the last time I looked at
Yeah. But yeah, so if you've watched Hannibal, if you haven't, if you're excited, email us deathandaliens@gmail.com. Find us on all of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me at CE Cloud 13,
You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
and we
Oh
will
my
see
God.
you for Sci-Fi Sunday.
Brianna voted from all three of her Instagrams.
I know. I saw that. I saw that.
All right. Goodbye,
All right,
everybody.
bye.